Welcome back, everybody. I'm Carex, and this will be a timeline and final thoughts for our Old Alliance Reversed campaign. We are playing as Scotland. And of course, Scotland's got a number of challenges here. Scotland's pretty poor, and England is pretty strong. And while we do have a guarantee of independence from France, that's not really going to protect us against England if England wants to come and beat us up, right? I mean, if England came and just full sieged our land, they might be deterred by France, but as long as we have that guarantee. But how are we going to actually beat France? We could declare on England, but that doesn't mean that we'll win the war, because even if France was helping us in a war against England, France could, yeah, they could siege all this stuff down here, whoop-de-doo, but we wouldn't necessarily be able to win any battles up here. So it's a little bit of a tricky start. So we're going to race for Ireland and take land down here. We took this piece of land right here, and we took Tyrone and Desmond. I think as soon as we get the chance to integrate the Isles, we're going to do that, because quite honestly, the Isles are just annoying, and we already have cores on those, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. So it's a race for Ireland right now. France and England declared their war with each other. We did not ally France because I didn't want to get sucked into that war, right? If we ally France, we get called into the war over Maine, and then next thing you know, we have England just beating us up for no reason, even though they can't win the war, right? They're just trashing on us. So I didn't want that to happen. So now we're allying France. Now we've allied France. It's a race for all of Ireland, where these guys have just worked out them in a good alliance network where we can sort of just piece them apart, just doing quick little wars against the Irish miners, getting those claims and doing it. Unfortunately, because getting the free claims here does require getting the alliance with France, we had to get these claims the old-fashioned way, but that's okay. We're just scooping up the Irish miners. England gets one province here. Unfortunately, it would have been nice. There is a way I think we could have done this where we could have got all of it, but England ends up getting this province. These guys were actually part of a trade league. These guys were part of a trade league with Lubeck. We could have maybe just gone for it, but it would have been annoying because there was like 10 nations that were 10 small insignificant nations that would have joined in with that. They end up getting vassalized by England. England gives them this other province. Eventually, we'll take that back in a war. We are coming up on the first war against England. We are allied to France and Burgundy and Brittany. So we have a huge alliance here. But what are those guys going to do against mainland England? Nothing, right? Absolutely nothing. England luckily does not have very many strong alliances. I think they're allied to just completely insignificant people like Gellery and Savoy. I think Gellery and Savoy. And actually, you know what? I take that back. I think early on they were allied to Austria, Switzerland, Savoy, and Gellery. I think they actually had quite a beast of an alliance. Early on they had Austria. They definitely had Austria. So we were going to call in France, Burgundy, and Brittany to basically win the war on mainland Europe while we try to figure out how to win the war here. There was an event that triggered that allowed us to get these two provinces for free from Norway. I think we had to pay some money or something. We just bought them, basically. Bought them from Norway. There's eventually going to be a Swedish independence war, and we have claims now. Because we took these provinces, we actually have claims on on Iceland up there. And during the Swedish independence war, we're going to hope to get that land just for the fun of it, right? Just for the fun of it. So somewhere around here, we are actually going to fight our first war against England. And something interesting happened. And we need to kind of set the stage for this, because like England has 40,000 troops. We have, what, 22,000, 25,000 maybe at the most. I mean, we do have some modifiers, but this is all really poor land. This is all really wealthy land. You guys know the drill. And basically, Northumbria is a fort that kind of protects all of England's southern area, right? Yeah, we could scoop this stuff up easy. Yeah, that's great and all, but that's not going to get us anything, right? Just scooping up these provinces. We have the straits that we could try to control, but the thing is, English Navy is more powerful than ours. I think we were building heavies, but it wasn't going to be enough to win the first war. We also kind of want to take man. There's all kinds of problems here, right? If we could win naval, right, we could try to do a thing where we could trap them on some islands and stuff. We actually never did that in this campaign. We never trapped England on Ireland, which we totally probably could have at one point, but we never did. What happened was there was actually just a weird momentary opportunity. There was rebellion in England. It wasn't part of the... They had already got through the... this is many years later. They had already got through the War of the Roses. But there was some random rebellion here that was sieging down Northumbria. And it successfully sieged this province. This is a marshland. And what that means is if we attack into this province and England is re-sieging this back, we'll actually be the defenders defending the rebel fort. and the English will be the attackers there. So what happened was, and these giant sack of rebels are just roaming around. It's like 25,000 rebels or something like that. So what happened was England split their troops up here. Whoops, spoiler. England split about 15,000 troops here, 15,000 troops here. They were sieging this province. We declare war. We attack them. We win a good battle, defensive battle on Northumbria. And they actually, both of their armies sort of consolidate and retreat. They actually retreat into the rebel path. I kid you not. We got 25,000 battered English soldiers moving into York, fighting a 25,000 stack of rebels. We end up going in and reinforcing the rebels right at the last moment, and it re-triggers a battle against England, but we're the defenders. And like we stack wipe basically 30,000 English troops. That's basically how the war started. And we took the progress that they had on Northumbria, so we take that fort really quickly so that we're able to make those maneuvers and make those moves. So we had Northumbria like right at the start of the war. We stacked wipe 30,000 English. We start carpet sieging England, and the rest is history, right? We take Northumbria, release them as a vassal. We take Wales, one province of Wales, release them as a vassal. In the next war, we're going to be able to do a reconquest war, a very cheap, easy reconquest war against for Man, because Man is actually one of our core provinces. So we could do a reconquest for Man, return the cores at the same time simultaneously for Northumbria and for Wales. Boom. Second war, because they don't have a fort in the northern region, we can just sort of like just swoosh down on them really, really easily here and just sort of swoosh down on England. No big deal. At this point, I believe we also had a stronger navy than them, so we could really do some good sort of like recon as to where their troops were and stuff like that. At this point, I think we just built over our force limit. We just went basically face to face with England. But the truth is, England had lost some of the land over here. They had lost a couple pieces of land here. They had lost the critical fort. So this was a pretty decisive war. Now England's lost their second of 3 forts. London is their final fort. We've taken a couple provinces because they're trade centers. And then this province right here just to connect this little bit so that we could just walk through here and navigate through here. We also took back Man. That finished one of our missions, right? So that finished one of our missions. We're going to be integrating Northumberland and Wales because they serve no more use as vassals. So we're going to be integrating those guys. And actually, we're going to be turning ourselves to France soon because the ultimate goal of this campaign, I apologize for not explaining it, right? It's as Scotland, the Old Alliance Reversed, a pretty famous achievement. It's been around for a very, very long time, maybe since the game came out. And we need to vassalize France. The idea is to vassalize France. Now, France starts off with a guarantee against us. So they're protecting us at the start of the game, but we want to protect them in the next game. Third war against England, we take London, we take Calais. I want to make sure to take Calais here so that France doesn't get it in their own conquests. France has solidified sort of a lot of their border and returned a lot of their land from England back to them. We're going to keep beating up on England, but England is toast. They have no more forts. They're just getting ravaged. We do need to secure this southern border here because we don't want France to do anything against England. We don't want Burgundy to do anything against England. Very lucky that Burgundy has stayed strong this time because if France had gobbled up Burgundy and the Burgundian inheritance, that would have been a different story. So we're beating up on England. We're about to actually go to war with France, but it's not on our terms. Spain is declaring war on France. We go into the war against France with Spain. Spain, of course, wins the majority of the war. We end up landing troops in the north once it's safe, once the French are distracted with the southern border. So we are sieging down France from the north, and we get rewarded by that. Spain only actually wanted a couple provinces. They only took 2 provinces. One of these, I think, was a fort province, though, right? And we end up getting 2 provinces up here. They returned 1 province to England, which was super funny, and they returned this to Maine. We scooped, or to Provence. They released Provence. So we scoop up Maine for Provence because why the heck not? Before France can get a chance to do that. We take this back from England in the next war. We've secured the southern coast. These provinces are out of reach of Burgundy and France, so there's not going to be any threat there. In fact, France doesn't even have their northern coastal border anymore. Now at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to declare war against France with Burgundy. And in this war, it's very important because we did a little bit of a sneaky thing in this war. We sieged down France completely, combined the strength of Burgundy, maybe Brittany might have been in there too, and Scotland. Spain did not want to join. They're doing their own thing. So we just jump in with Burgundy, maybe Brittany, maybe not, and Scotland, and we just beat up on, I think, Savoy. Yeah, Savoy. It was Austria that was allied to England. It was Savoy that was allied to France. That's how it goes. So we had to beat up on Savoy and France. Otherwise, they didn't really have many allies. They might have been allied to Provence or something like that eventually once they got re-released. But what we did is we sieged down France 100%. We gave all the control to Burgundy, hoping that Burgundy would take land, and they did. They took 3 expensive provinces from France. Then we re-sieged down France once we'd already kicked out Savoy and kicked out some of French's allies. So we actually got 2 100% peace deals against France in one war. Kind of a sneaky little thing, because all we're trying to do is cut France down. We don't really care about who has this land, right? The goal is to vassalize France. To do that right now, it's inevitable, but to do that, we need to cut them down and make them smaller. We end up just releasing Toulouse here, and we end up sort of taking Gascony, this province down here, and releasing Gascony for that big reconquest war to follow up here. Because aggressive expansion is becoming a thing. Taking Maine was a lot of aggressive expansion, and taking any land in that war would have been a lot of aggressive expansion. So we just released these guys down here, big giant chunk of French land on the southern coast that got released. Papal State quickly gobbled them up, but that's okay. It doesn't matter who controls that land. Looks like Provence has been wiped out by the Papal State as well. But we just basically took this one province and released Gascony. In the second war here, aggressive expansion has died off a little bit, plus all this land right here gets returned in a reconquest war very, very cheaply. We take 3 provinces from France. 2 of these are very annoying fort provinces. I think the only fort that's left now is the one here on Lyonnais and the one in Paris. I think Burgundy's going to swoop in. We've lost our alliance with Burgundy one way or another, but I think Burgundy's going to swoop in. I think it was because we forced them. We didn't force them, but they chose to separate peace out, and I think that might have broke the alliance or something with them. Burgundy takes another big chunk here of land. We take another big chunk. We can't quite vassalize them in that war, so we leave 2 provinces adjacent to each other so they don't try to, like, basically so they don't exile themselves to the New World, right? And then we're coming up, we're just waiting for the truce. We made sure to have a shorter truce timer than with Burgundy. Burgundy took a pretty big truce, taking their pieces of land. We took a shorter truce timer. We made sure of that so that we would be able to declare war on France before Burgundy. We declare war, we take one province, we vassalize Paris. There you go, France is our vassal. And we have done the annulled alliance reverse. There we go. Scotland's looking good. We are allied to Spain. Unfortunately, there's kind of a color issue here, right, between Spain and Scotland. That's kind of annoying. We have quite a massive economy. We have also spawned global trade. Wait, did we? Wait a second. Yeah, we spawned global trade in York, of all places, which is amazing. Instead of like London or something, so it's a little bit more isolated from other people. So we have global trade. The English trade channel is the richest in the world, and we control it at 75%. We have quite an impressive navy of ships. You know, I think we have, what do we have? 100 standing army. We could build up to 136,000 if we wanted to. We have over our force limit, but we have 100, way over our force limit here, but that's okay because we're making tons of ducats. Buckets of ducats. Got 110 ships, and 73 of them are light ships protecting trade in different regions, like in Lubeck and in the North Sea and in the English Channel. We're making 20 ducats a month. We're not colonizing or anything like that. These are our ideas. We got offensive. We ended up going offensive first because, again, we literally picked offensive ideas when we saw the rebel situation in Northumbria, right? When we actually saw that the rebels were in Northumbria, sieging down Northumbria, we went offensive. We rolled some good generals because the Scots already get +1 land leader shock. We ended up getting another one there, and we started rolling some. We had an amazing general. It does not... it cannot be understated that the general that we had to fight that first war was incredible. It was like a 3-5-3-2 or something like that. It was just insane. We had insane generals this entire game. Part of that was because we had offensive and the Scottish traditions. Part of that was just because we just got lucky. We just got lucky. We ended up going quality to get our troops up a little bit just to be able to go toe-to-toe with France. We went economic because economic is just insane in terms of making the construction costs cheaper for buildings and just keep boosting our economy. One of the issues you have as Scotland is your economy is very, very weak initially. But right now our economy is booming. I think we've built a number of manufactories here. If we wanted to click on these. Yep, we've built a number of manufactories. We have built quite a few churches. Quite a few workshops. Maybe we could build more. And we've been leveling up most of our trade ports, right? We have some level 3 trade ports in London and in sort of Normandy here. We could actually upgrade York and do some other things with that. So that is kind of the situation right now. Very, very fun, very good game as Scotland. beating up France, beating up England, and then beating up France. Of course, there was really only one decisive war against England. The rest just fell into place. We got very lucky in a couple of these situations, and that's how it goes sometimes. You need a little bit of luck, I think, to do well as Scotland. So not quite as challenging as the Irish campaign that we did, where we defeated England as Ireland, but as one of an Irish minor. But still actually kind of gave very similar vibes to that, to be honest. It kind of put us in a similar tricky position where eventually you just have to go toe-to-toe with England. You just got to win somehow. But thank you, everybody, for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.